and it was time for students to start doing their MAP tests, or measure of academic progress. It's a test you take at the beginning and end of each year. It's a wonderful idea to not take it seriously. All these we get all sweaty-faced and study hard, but not this year. So I walk into class, sit down on my desk, and breeze through the thing in like 20 minutes, guessing all the questions. Can you guess what happened? That's right. I got the best score in the entire grade. But that didn't actually happen. It was the worst score I've seen in my life. It was safe to say that I wasn't a genius for doing that. And that's what this speech is about. My stupidity, my mistakes, and what I've learned from taking things just a little too seriously. So first, I want you to think about yourself, specifically the deeper parts of your mind, the part that hates, the part that dreads, and the part that frightens you. That's the loveliest part of your heart, the most beautiful. I call it your darkness, or your shadow. It makes up your insecurities, your anxieties, frustration. The shadow can affect you in so many ways and change what you do. And sometimes it takes a turn for the worst. Now, this shadow is hungry. It's very hungry. And it feeds upon your negative emotions. And I want you to visualize this. Slowly, it grows and grows, bit by bit, until it takes full control of your body, and you end up doing drugs. With your shadow taking the wheel, all rational thinking is shoved into a suitcase and thrown out the window, and you end up doing things you regret. What kinds of things can the shadow do? Well, let's say you start to worry too much and try to be perfect at whatever you're doing. You become too afraid to be proud of yourself, and instead focus your energy on negative talk as a replacement for motivation. You ignore the signs that your mental health is degrading. You ignore the signs that maybe this isn't as big of a deal as you think it is. And you ignore the signs that in reality, you shouldn't care. Another side effect of the shadow, and I bet this is something everyone can relate to, getting offended when your friends make fun of you. Of course, I've been made fun of a lot. That should be quite obvious. And I started to notice that when you overreact at these jokes, you train your mind to start interpreting everything everyone does towards you as negative. You start to think that your friends hate you, or their texts seem rude, which, guess what, harms your mental health and feeds this shadow of yours. So there's all these times when being serious can increase the negativity in your life. You view things around you as negative, stressing yourself out in important situations. You can ask, oh, how can I stop this? And honestly, I have no clue. But I do have a proposal. The shadow feeds off negative energy, right? It eats up your bad feelings and spits them out as things that are even worse. But what if there was a way to stop that? Technically speaking, if you limit the amount of food he eats, you starve him out. And that's where being serious comes into play. Seriousness. I've mentioned it before. But what is it? No, seriously. Or what is being serious? It could be part of your personality, or it could be part of your work, or it can be a decision you make. When you do your homework, you've got to be serious. When you're designing a bridge, you've got to be serious. When you write a speech, you've got to be semi-serious, right? Being serious is a decision to focus hard and try your best without distraction. And here's where the interesting stuff comes in. When you be serious, two things happen. You become more productive, and you get more work done. But you can also allow a buildup of negative emotions, right? They can come from stress, frustration, anger, anything that makes you feel bad. On the other hand, you have the times when you aren't so serious. You get lazy and you don't do any work. But suddenly, all these negative emotions don't seem to matter anymore because you don't care. So by deciding to be serious or not, you have slight command over these negative emotions that affect your life. Which means, as you guessed, you have the power to influence your shadow. And with great power comes great responsibility. Abraham Lincoln. You don't have control over what you feel. Frankly, it's unpredictable. But you can control what feeds into these emotions. If you start being less serious, there's a good and a bad. And the good is, you have a less likely chance of letting the shadow take over, because you're choosing not to care about the things that make you more stressed. Of course, you can't always not take things seriously. Your tests and your grades and things that could affect your life in numerous ways. But what about the things that don't? Why work hard and get stressed over something that you don't know will make you any happier? Because that's the goal, right? You live life to be happy. I'm not encouraging you to not be serious. I'm encouraging you to think about why you should. I'm not a master at this. I've still got tons of stuff to learn. But I've realized it's a necessary skill to know when to care and when to let go. You're getting mad over a guy on the internet who called you loser. I know, it's painful. But why be serious about it? You want to ask your crush out on a date, but words get rejected? Why overthink it? Why push yourself for a cause that you don't know will make you or others any happier? Because as Edward Hubble once said, don't take life too seriously. Never get out of the line. Those previous examples of mine, especially with the test, are severe cases of what I'm describing. Frankly, there are times when you can take things just a little too jokingly. But when it comes to everyday life and occurrences that don't affect you, like acing a test, or an offensive joke, or just the thought of needing to be perfect for your own sake, chill out. So what I mean by stop being serious is stop overthinking the little things, appreciate it, and start understanding your emotions. If you never allow yourself to not be serious, you won't be happy, because the shadow is the one driving you.